Hey, what is up everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at Polkadot, and Polkadot is actually up 1% today. The entire market has just been consolidating after yesterday's Ethereum massacre, where we saw $1.4 billion worth of Ethereum hacked from Bybit, which was one of the biggest hacks ever. Yeah, absolutely huge. Even though it didn't really cause that massive crash in crypto, Bybit did really well to sort of calm that panic. Ethereum did go from 2.8k to 2.6k, but now is slowly coming back up to 2.7. So yeah, it's really good to see that the market isn't too worried about that hack. I know a lot of people initially were, but then Bybit did really well to solve it. Now Polkadot is approaching its resistance again. We have touched this resistance multiple times in the past. $5.38 here, $5.35. This resistance is the fib 0.786 area, and really until we break past this, we're not going to be going any higher. So the main good thing right now is that it's actually building up these higher lows, which means that wanting to trend up, there's more buyers and sellers as prices continuing to rise rather than continuing to drop. So that's really good to see as well. Now we're also gonna have to take a look at Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance and the S&P, which crashed yesterday a bit. But before we jump into all of that, I want to ask you guys to check out the Discord down below. You can see on the screen right now just how many trades our members are winning from copying our trades. Inside you can also copy my long-term portfolio and also copy all the strategies that I personally use to trade. So yeah, make sure you join up. Now Bitcoin on the other hand hasn't been recovering the same as altcoins. Again, dominance has been dropping a bit today, so that sort of means that altcoins will perform better than Bitcoin. And Bitcoin actually lost a lot of ground yesterday. We dropped from 99,000 to 94,000. So the crash was more so for Bitcoin really than Ethereum, even though Ethereum was the coin that got hacked, which is interesting to see. Now again, we're still expecting Bitcoin to rise. We don't have a heat map today, but in tomorrow's video or maybe tonight's video, we're gonna take a look at a heat map, simply because there's not enough updates yet on the heat map. But previous updates were that there's $110,000 right here. We have a lot of liquidations there, and that's the area we should be heading to next. We had a lot of liquidations just below 95,000, which we cleared with this wick, and that's why we sort of started trending up again. But as I mentioned in the previous videos, the main issue right now isn't that there's not any catalyst or anything like that. It's more so that there's not enough liquidity entering the market. So on this huge dip right here, this was one of the biggest liquidation events really ever. The most amount of money got liquidated here. After that, it meant that a lot of people lost money and weren't able to invest more money in the market. A lot of people lost their confidence, so less money is entering the market, and that's why we saw such small candles, such little volume, and now it's slowly starting to progress bigger and bigger. But until we really see candles like this, the volume's not going to be back, and we're not going to see any major moves. So that's the main issue right now. Maybe a major catalyst will solve that, or maybe it'll just be time that slowly evolves. People forget about this, people get more money and invest more money. Another thing that could help with that is the dividend checks, which we talked about a bit yesterday. So the Department of Government Efficiency, or Doge, is proposing 20% of its savings will go to the people. So that would be like $5,000 per household in dividends, sort of like a stimulus check. And when we get these stimulus checks, people want to spend that money or invest that money. So what we'll see is usually that money flows into the market or flows back into the economy, which then further boosts the market up. So really in the short term, it provides a lot of benefits for the market. Obviously in the long term, that could lead to further inflation, but usually we just deal with that when it comes, and we just get a really good short-term boost. Then we get the inflation small decrease, but overall that's how the market moves. We get short-term pumps, which will lead to long-term issues, which we then resolve, leading to further pumps, dumps, and that's just sort of how the market moves. Now Bitcoin dominance on the weekly chart here, we need this candle to close in the red. If we take a look at the percent chart here, you'll see we still have this huge wick, and a huge wick like this usually resembles a top. So if this is our top, we should be looking to crash down and essentially close this candle in the red. We've previously seen a similar move right here, where we saw a rather large wick to the upside, and then we just started crashing down, and it was just a plethora of these red candles. We did get a few green candles or blue candles here, but that's what we should expect here. Maybe this will be a bullish candle, but then we'll essentially just see a plethora of red candles next. But overall, I think this will be the top. I don't really see how much higher we can go on dominance. 64% is already huge. The high we had last time was 75% on nearly. So you have to remember as well how many more coins there are now, and that we have an ETF on Ethereum as well, not just Bitcoin. So yeah, I don't really see how we can get higher than 64% on dominance. I think we'll just have to continue dropping, and the next real target we have is 54%, sorry, to 54.6%. Once we're able to break through that, we should see dominant altcoins really thrive, and even during this dump, we'll see altcoins pumping up a lot more. Now again, for Polkadot, we have 3 entries. Anywhere below $5 is where we were entering. We're now above $5, so we're not buying. But if we come back down under $5, recommend to buy. I think it's a good buy under 5. The lowest buy we've had was $3.70 at these lows here back in November. We then obviously saw a huge rally, and then we wicked back down here a few days ago. So that's for buys. Now for price targets, it really depends how long you want to hold, but I wouldn't be selling anywhere under $8.70. so if we're entering under $5, let's say just $4.80, that's nearly a 2x, and this is a really easily achievable target. If you want to hold for slightly longer, then again 145% here at $11.80 I think is a great target. And what you can also do is just stake up your Polkadot, and once we reach, for example, $7 and you want to sell at $8, you just unstake. It'll take a month to unstake or something like that, depending on the exchange you use, and then you can just sell there, because it will usually take, if we estimate $1 a month, you can just do the maths. But that's how I'd sort of do it and how I am doing it. And yes, minimum targets for long term, at least the previous high that we've had here, so nearly a 2.5x, and after that you could just be looking at these higher levels. Go for $23, that's nearly a 5x, and then further like $30 if you really want to moonbag it. But the best thing is just to have multiple price targets. You want to have a conservative price target, a median price target, and a really optimistic price target. That way you always get the best of both all three worlds. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend to do. Now the S&P yesterday also saw a huge crash. We hit an all-time high this week, and we've since fallen down. We usually get this, we hit an all-time high, we fall down. Next week we just continue pumping. So I think that's what's going to happen again. We hit the all-time high, we dump down, now we're going to continue pumping later on next week and in the weeks to follow. So yeah, I think that's really basic stuff for the S&P, and that's practically it. Other coins I'm going to be keeping an eye out for this weekend: SUI, XRP, HBAR, Render, Doge as well has been performing quite well and looks like decent buys soon. Polkadot, obviously, AVAX, really slow performer, Solana, and Ethereum as well. So yeah, that's practically it for today's video. If you did enjoy, please do make sure to like and subscribe. If you need a place to buy, sell, or trade cryptocurrency, then check out all the exchanges I'm working with down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye, guys.